Good morning, a pleasant good morning, pleasant good Wednesday morning to all the students of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome to today's program. Today, Wednesday, the 5th day of November in the year of our Lord 2025. Welcome. Hope you had a wonderful night. Hope you looking forward for the remainder of the week. Hope you're like me, looking forward to see when these other requests will be made for extradition, as promised by the Attorney General. Welcome to another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks to being in the land of the living. It is indeed a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should never, ever take that for granted. Never take it for granted. So welcome. Share the live, and let them know we're on. First of all, I need to compliment the students for your attendance on Monday. We had record numbers in the school, and even as we go now and look on social media, FaceTime and on YouTube, that's a FaceTime, Facebook and YouTube, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands have viewed the program. We thank you for that, and that is why we are going to make sure that we do our research. We come and we bring you the credible, valuable information. Again, good news. My colleague is here with me. Mr. Conway is in the studio waiting to bring you credible, valuable information. So, yeah, share, and let them know that we're on this great day that the Lord has made. Another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's do that. Praise, you have to always give praise and thanks, always give praise and thanks. We know many of them are not believers. They are not. But they're going to come maybe at the last one. They're going to all out for God. Oh, Lord. The time will come with all the wrong things they're doing. All the wrong things, they will have to answer for those things. You can't be doing those things to God's children and get away with it. So we're going to see what is going to happen. So, yes, welcome to today's episode. And we are going to get to it. We have a lot to tell you today. So we're going to, again, go past the roll call. And one of the reasons too, I don't know what happens. Sometimes you have to leave, or sometimes inadvertently you get thrown out of the studio. And when you get back in, a lot of names, the earlier ones, are taken off. And that is from the platform. That has nothing to do with me. And that happened again this morning. So the people who came in at 8 o'clock, that is U.S. Eastern Standard Time, those early people at 8 o'clock, they are off. So if you look at the comment now, you're going to see those who are there from, I think, around 1 minute after or so. So, again, I like to just acknowledge those people who come in early, even though I can't this morning indicate who they are. So, welcome. And, of course, when the doors were open, people ran in to the school, the classroom, to take up their advantageous seats. But we're going to tell you, we get microphone and so on, so our voices will fill the classroom. So you're going to hear what we have to say. But I know some people like they're in the front bench, so not only hear, they can see as well. So welcome. Now, let me move into the announcements. And after the announcements, we're going to go straight into so many things that we have to talk about today. So many things. We try to get you as many as possible. But, we tell you, we are not going to shortchange you. We're not going to shortchange. So we try to prioritize the things that we know are of interest to people out there. And then we're going to come back at some other time and to deal with it. Again, I want to invite you all to make sure that you subscribe to the channel on YouTube and you follow the page on Facebook. And if you had subscribed, you would have seen a post yesterday in relation to the arrest of Azuddin Mohammed. That was extracted from Monday's program, and I see it's getting a lot of views. So yes, we are going to keep doing that. It is not such a straightforward process to edit that thing, but once the time is there, I'm going to try to. I used to do it some time ago, but time is important. So I'm going to try to do it again, so that at least when you talk about a particular issue, you can have a little video dealing with that issue alone and not the entire program. So yeah, we're going to do that. I want to say thanks to, I learned from one of the students recently that there's a group there's a Dutch-speaking group. Can't remember from exactly where it's Suriname or where, but she's a Dutch-speaking group who has been following, right, the program. But what they do, I understand, someone translates the program into Dutch, and they have been followed. They are students, so the thing is international. We know we had Guyanese in all over who are following, but we know some Dutch-speaking people have been showing interest in the program. We thank them for that. Now, let me move to the announcements. First, we're going to talk, we talk about those sad ones first. We told you about the death of retired Detective Inspector Ali, Colbert Ali, 8952. And don't forget, his funeral will be on the 9th of this month. The viewing at Manchester, quarantine where he lives, from 11 to 12. Thence to Myconi Methodist Church for service from 2 p.m. and burial is at a nearby cemetery. Then we informed you some weeks ago about the death of his female special constable. Well, I have the details now. Female special constable Beatrice Desiree Wilson. She used to work at the finance office some years ago, we understand. And she was the wife of the late Superintendent Michael Wilson. Michael used to be at the training college here for some time. They said the funeral is on Thursday. That's tomorrow, Thursday the 6th. Sandy's Funeral Home, Chapel Street Lodge. Viewing from 1 to 2. And then the funeral service after burial at La Prenture, I understand. Then I received word of the death of a former detective constable, Noel Lawrence. His number was 7446, Squaddy of Smithy. And I was told that he was stationed early in A and D division, and he migrated to Canada in the 70s. And then he moved on to Cayenne, and he died recently. We also have the death of the former Vice President of the United States, Dick Cheney. He died, I think, yesterday morning. And, well, that is a story that you should really follow up. Those of you who are interested in politics and interested in life. All of us are interested in life because the story, 84, he died. And the point is that no matter how powerful you are, this you will realize that, no matter how powerful you are, that day is come when you surely have to go. And that is why I continue to say the fear of death is perhaps one of the most irrational fears there is, because we all have to die. We all have to die, right? But Dick Cheney is said to have been one of the most powerful vice presidents of the United States. And the story is that when the second Bush, they were looking for a vice presidential candidate for him, Cheney was put to lead that search to find an appropriate person to be the vice president. And then he reported that he is the most appropriate person, and he became the vice president. And they say he was the most powerful in recent time because he, some will say, ran the show. He ran the show. So yes, he passed away yesterday at the age of 84, right? 84. Now, it grieves me to keep announcing these road fatalities, but there were two more since we met on Monday. Between Monday and today, two more people died on the road. The Dark Vader, two more persons died. I'm going to give you the details a little later, but so I want to deal with that. Let me do the board announcements, and then I'm going to bring CC in, and then we're going to continue to talk about this carnage on the road and the response from the authorities, right? Or the lack of response from the authorities. In terms of board day, let me pull it up. Let me run and see the note is here. Today is the board anniversary of former member Simon Johnson, 0472. Jano was, this 0400 policeman, Jano was by man. I've heard from him a long time. He was in the CID there, Jano. That was one of my first courses, 0472, as an instructor. He came with people like Jonesy and those people, my first set of recruits, man, and I always had fun memory of those persons. So Jano is celebrating today. The birth anniversary today of a very good friend of mine, veteran broadcaster Franklin Bobby Vera. Franklin Bobby Vera is observing a birth anniversary today. a countryman of mine, Fitzroy Abrams, was my classmate's son. He too is observing today. Patrick Douglas, another countryman, is observing. Patrick is a student in the class. He's observing today. And a former member of the Uniformed Services, Edward Lord. Oh, Lord, he used to be in the National Service, I think. And Edward is celebrating today as well. Belated birthday greetings. Did I say? I don't think I mentioned it before. If I did, I'm going to say it again. He deserves it. Adam Harris, veteran journalist, right? Another countryman, he celebrated recently, and I want to wish them all the best. Now, let me bring in Mr. Conway, and again, condolences to the relatives of all those persons who died, and happy birthday greetings to all those who I mentioned and all who did not get mentioned. And you're celebrating today, you celebrated recently, or you're celebrating in the near future. All the best to you. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then I have some other announcements to make. CC, good morning. I hope you are feeling much better, my friend.
Well, by the grace of the Lord, I'm here, and the Lord has been preserving me so that I can do his work, and I've been doing his work. And I'm recovering well. And as I said before, I've been paying for a nurse since 1998, and still with me, but I got some strict rules, regulations, restrictions, still the more serious than other people, very, very strict. Can't do this, can't lift this, can't do that. I promise also to call in Ingrid Wiltshire and let Ingrid Wiltshire serve me with a notice, conduct to the prejudice of good order or discipline. But I won't allow that to happen, I will just make sure that I do what I want to do because I want to properly recover. And birthday greetings to all those persons you mentioned, condolences to all those ones that you mentioned here also. And I gotta tell people, that life, kind of Shakespeare, life is a necessary end. It will come when it will. Dick Cheney, I'm a Dick Cheney. I think he said Iraq had the weapons of mass destruction that they might find out up to now, So a time has come when you have to go. Shakespeare says, it will come when it will. And that's what we got to look at.
It will come when it will come. You just have to make preparations for that inevitable day. It will come when it will come. We can't avoid it, man. We can't avoid it. So why fear what you cannot avoid? Just make your preparations, whether it's spiritual, whether it's financial, whatever it is. Make sure that you make the preparation. Make sure. Now for some other announcements. Let me give some other announcements before we go into the meat of the thing. Bear with me a while. I made some notes. I make notes. So I want to miss nothing. And the first thing we're still into daylight saving time. For those of you who were caught, daylight saving time in the United States, and we are operating on the Eastern Standard Time, which is 1 hour behind Guyana, right? And so when we start in the U.S. on the Eastern Standard Time at 8 o'clock, that will be when we schedule the program, when we open the school gates at 8 o'clock, that will be 9 o'clock Guyana time. And when we open the doors at 11 o'clock, that will be 12 midday Guyana time. So keep it, make a note, because I know a lot of people are caught when they go and they don't see the program schedule and so on. Some will call. No one called me today, but they call and they wanted to know what is happening if there's no program or so, right? Now, Jamaica is still recovering from Hurricane Melissa, right? And I noted this morning an article in one of the dailies or a post on the social media, something, where Guyana is sending some people from GPL, Guyana Power and Light, or they say Get Plenty Lamp, right? GPL, Get Plenty Lamp. They are sending some some technicians over there to assist with the recovery. And some people making fun of it, say they can't deal with what we have in Guyana, and they're going to assist people. But it's good to help, good to help your brothers. And I know by now you would have had places where perhaps donations can be made, either cash or kind. look out and give whatever you can. And beware of the scammers, because with things like this, is unfortunate that a lot of people will try to scam. The scammers are there. Scammers are there. So if you're going to make a contribution, especially a monetary contribution, ensure that it's something authentic. It is something genuine, right? So there's a caution to you. Now, the next thing I want to tell you about is that this month, November month, is observed as Diabetes Awareness Month. November month, Diabetes Awareness Month. Last month, we had Cancer Awareness. This month is Diabetes Awareness Month. And therefore, all we can say again, be aware. Be aware. Check yourself. Know the status of your as we say, your sugar. Know how sweet you are, right? Know how it's very important that you do that. I have seen over the years many people, because they were not aware and because they did not take proper care of themselves, they lose limbs. I always remember there was a particular policeman, very jovial chap. I remember him, and I was at Brigham, I think then as a 2IC, and I saw him. He was a little chubby. I saw him in the compound, and he was very thin. And I called him and I asked him what was the position, why he looking like that. He said, yeah, no. So immediately, it was long ago, Kaya Dr. Kasim, the police sergeant, I caused him to be sent to Dr. Kasim right away. Miriam, remember Miriam, the nurse, was there, and the man's sugar was out of this world. The man was diabetic, and he did not know. So he eating all other things from the mess, all the fats and all the sugars and so on. And I then said to him, "Why you can't think, but where you come from?" He said he come from some in the Baltic area. And then I arranged for him to be transferred to go back where he lives so he could get some good care and home food and so on. And he went there, and within a short 10 days after, I got the sad word that he passed away. So, and I have seen many people. You see them with losing amputees, and then when you find out, it's because of diabetes. They have diabetes, and apparently they did not know, or if they knew, they did not take good care of themselves, and then they end up losing limbs and so on. So yeah, this month is observed as the Diabetes Awareness Month. So please, my brothers and sisters, make sure that you go and check. Make sure you go and know your number, or know your number. And then this evening, I learned this morning, there'll be a candlelight vigil for little Soraya Bourne between 6 and 8 o'clock this evening. Soraya Bourne candlelight vigil at the explosion site, that at the Exxon Mobil outlet region on King Street. I understand there's to be a candlelight vigil there. 6 to 8 people are asked to dress in white to go to that vigil. I encourage all parents and everybody should go, show your sympathy and so on. We're going to talk more about that, because you would have seen, if you did not see, I'm informing you that this morning some of the suspects appeared in court. I'm not sure. Well, you know they're going to get remand. That is straightforward. The charge with terrorism, they're going to get remand. Kawan, many of them are foreigners, some of them are Guyanese. We're going to go into it in a little more detail a little later. But you have to remember on that. Then we had elections in the United States yesterday. And my God, look at the results. Look at the results. They call it a blue wave. They are calling it a blue wave. Well, you remember we had said on Monday, elections, there's something you should not refuse to participate in. People died for that privilege or that opportunity, for that right to take part in the process, and you should not let it go. So a lot of people in New York, they say record turnout, over 2 million persons voted in the mayor's election, right? And a lot of record, because the person who won, Mandami, forced Muslim, forced a lot of things. He's 34 years old. And let's see how it will go. Let's see how it will go. New Jersey, blue wave. Virginia, blue wave. Pennsylvania. So let's see how things will go. And it's a lesson to all of us that you have to take part in the process. Whoever you back in, take part in the process, because you can't sit at look, we got a oily troll. An oily troll. You look in the mirror and he see himself. Watch. You look in the mirror and he see himself. So we deal with the oil. You know, we don't tolerate them with the disrespect That's how they grow up, you know. Because if some of them, they grow up disrespecting the mother and the father, what do you expect? They grow up disrespecting the mother and father. So who is me and you, right? They're going to disrespect me too, right? They're accustomed to that. Some of them have all sort of inappropriate, that's the word just used now, inappropriate relationship with the mother and all sort of things. So when they come and they tell you that the thing, they call you jackass and they say all this type of thing. Yeah, California too. We are not tolerating them on this program. This is not a program for them. This is a place for information, for education, to keep people informed of what's going on. That thing where you come there with, that's another program. So maybe you miss the one or you come out for the one they send you. No. We aren't tolerating the Mr. D. What you say? Enough of them things will be fake, you know, they'll sing. K-Car said they'll sing. Well, you get expelled right away. You don't waste time with them. Right? So I'm saying with the election process, make sure that you take part. And before I bring in CC, we have a cricket. West Indies won this morning against New Zealand. 4 straight T20 victories, you know, 3 against Bangladesh, 1 against New Zealand now. Well, New Zealand is a more formidable opponent, so we have got to look to see what is going on. I know next week is the T20, next year rather is the T20 World Cup. So let's see how things are going. I know a lot of people wake up, stayed up to watch the game and all sort of thing. Yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. When they do well, you must celebrate. And because we got to grieve when they don't do so well. Let me bring in CC. CC, comment on those things, man. The diabetes, cricket, all these things, attack, candlelight. And your take, my brother.
I want to urge all, you know, that as you get older, make sure you join a clinic. 3 things: your sugar, your pressure, and your cholesterol. Go to the Georgetown Hospital. Go to those health clinics, and they get plenty all about the place. All the regions got. Georgetown Festival City, they do wonderful work. Campbellville, the hospital, the Georgetown Hospital itself. Go to those clinics. Don't dig up yourself or feel ashamed. People say he's a sick man. You have every 2 months you have to go to the clinic, and you go there and have your treatment, have your discussion with your medical people. Go there. I repeat myself. Join a clinic, whichever you are. And you know, the cricket, I didn't see it poor life, but the nurse didn't wake me up, lock me away, but she ensured that I saw the highlights. So I'm thankful for that. I follow instructions, you know, and a win is a win. Jump high, jump low, a win is a win, and I'm happy for them.
Yeah, my brother. Yeah. Let me thank you for that. Let me say this. We're gonna go into some of the real matters now. We did report here to you about the fatal accident involving the police woman, where but before we go to the police woman, we had the fatal accident at Linden, where 2 motorcyclists, my lord, again 2. I think one is 19 or one is school age. They didn't give the name, they didn't give the age of the person. They say the report is saying 2 died in Karakara collision. Right? Ghana Police Forces yesterday, they're reporting that this fatal accident occurred yesterday about 8:30 p.m. on the intersection of Proctor Road and Karakara Public Road. Right? Proctor Road, Karakara. The release on the police said that the accident involved a motorcycle CP 6912, motor car PAE 7246, which was being driven by a 45-year-old excavator operator of Central Amelia's Ward, Linden. They said the collision resulted in the death of Lateral Winfield, 19, an operator of Wiz Rock Housing Scheme, Linden, the rider of the motorcycle, and Isaiah Richards, a student, age and address unknown at this time. Richards was the pillion rider. There's a preliminary investigation revealed that the motorcycle was proceeding east along Karakara Public Road at a fast rate when it collided with the right side of the motor car, which was at the time turning north onto Proctor Road. The impact caused the death of the rider and pillion. It caused the rider and the pillion to be thrown on the roadway, resulting in severe injuries. The rider and the pillion rider were picked up in unconscious state, taken to the Linden Hospital complex, where they were pronounced dead. Both vehicles are lodged, blah, 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 blah. Now, again, more deaths, motorcyclists, a 19-year-old, and some schoolboy. And I have said repeatedly that when these things occur, do further investigation. Was this driver licensed? I know they mentioned nothing about helmet, whether it was being worn or not. Was the driver licensed? If it is that he was licensed, how did he acquire the license? It calls for a deeper investigation for us to understand what really is going on. If you don't do a proper investigation to unearth or to reveal all the facts, you're not going to make proper interventions. They're going to run out and you hear the traffic and say, oh, they're speeding, they're careless, they're recognizing. Because I noted too, I am not familiar with the geography. I don't know Linden that well. But I say the motor car, right, was at the time was turning north onto Proctor Road. There's not know. And because I'm not aware of the geography, what struck me is that it turned in. If it turned in, was it that this car turned into the path of the motorcycle? I don't know because that wasn't explained. But two young men are dead. One 19 and one younger than that. Two men are dead. Right? I suspect, as someone said, they're not wearing helmet. It's part of a lawless culture. Lawless culture. Over the past week or so, you get man avoiding goats on the East Coast, riding to the path of a truck dead. On the Essequibo Coast, some cow crossing the road. The man, the pillion rider died. And interestingly, when I read that article, you know what it says? It says that there's a police release that the rider of the motorcycle received injuries and admitted at the hospital under police guard. The rider, the pillion died, and the rider was under police guard in the hospital. And I asked if this, based on what they say, if this cow, they say cow, they describe the cow, stray cow or something that walking across the road. Man crashed, pillion rider dead. I said, well, why is he under guard in the hospital? Unless it is that he hadn't any, the motorcycle perhaps wasn't registered and he was not licensed to drive or to ride a motorcycle. But they don't tell you these things. But more deaths on the road. And I understand that I speak to you that there might have been another one this morning somewhere on the East Coast. I haven't been able to confirm that. But it might have been. That is what was. I saw a flash somewhere. But carnage on the road, carnage, and the squatter is there. They ain't telling you nothing. The traffic chief says a lot that don't make much sense, and that is what you have going on. I continue to say, and I'm saying it again. This requires a comprehensive review of the entire system of driving in Guyana. All categories. I don't know how recent that was it too. Yesterday, somebody sent to me a man walking across the road. I mean, he was picky up and licky up. Right? Maybe, I don't know if it looked like in Guyana, I don't know. But if it is in Guyana, it's just an indication of the craziness that is going on. And then you're going to hear some piecemeal intervention here. We tweak this law here, we tweak this law here, and they are not addressing the matter as they should. They're not, because I maintain that you have to have a comprehensive review, starting with things like tires, for example. I know when the coalition was in office, they had banned used tires. When this government came back, or when the PPP came back into office in 2020, they do away with the ban, so used tires. Do we know if it contributes and to what extent? They get a lot of discarded tires from other countries coming in to Guyana, and most people also many people also to buy those. Do we know the extent to which defects on vehicles are causing these accidents. They're quick to talk about speeding and driving under the influence. Yeah, there might be factors, but there might very well be other contributory factors. And if you're going to address the issue, you have to look at all those things. We talk about the corruption, which they don't want to address in the issuance of driver's license. They don't want to address these things. How are you going to bring an end to this lawless culture? How are you going to bring an end to it? And it seems to me that the new Minister of Home Affairs had some military training, because it looked like she just fall in and cover down. And there's a military thing. I know as a former drill instructor, fall in and cover down. That should be the command you give to them. So she fall in and cover down. And I'm going to explore that a little later in the program. But it is madness on the road to people, young people. And most of these accidents that we're talking about, especially involving motorcycles, are teenagers and people in the 20s and so on. Precious resources are being lost, and we don't know what is the government doing. What are they doing apart from coming and telling about thoughts and prayers and all these type of things? Thoughts and prayers can't work. You have got to make sure you are the government. You have got to make sure that policies and plans are implemented to address this thing. We tell you over and over that one of the first things you have to do is to establish a Department of Transportation to look at all aspects dealing with the road and driving department. 2 years ago, or almost 2 years ago, on the New Year message, the president said that very shortly they're going to have this interaction with people, and out of that, policies. Up to now, you ain't got nothing. Enough talk. Big lamp, no oil. That is what is going on. Big lamp and no oil. That is what is going on. Right? So it's lawlessness. And who feels it knows it. So I know they imagine the parents and so on. And in many cases, a lot of people depend on these people as the breadwinners, and they die on the road. That is what you have. Let me bring in Mr. Conway to comment on that, and then we're going to move on to tell you about this other accident where the policewoman was charged yesterday. CC, 2 other fatal accidents at Lindman.
Well, not surprising, you know. And piecemeal effort will only produce piecemeal results. We said over and over again that we should have a holistic approach. And if apart from that, that the approach has got to be data-driven. You look at trend, you look at pattern, you look at series. You ask yourself, what category of road users are involved? The day, the time of the day, the time of the night, the days of the week, and a whole sort of thing. And after you analyze those you start, you utilize your human and other resources to deal with the situation. Yeah. But what they're doing, just come and make statement, and there's it. Corruption, the big issue. The big issue, corruption, the jaguar in the room, they're not dealing with. Well, not there they say that you can't use corruption in parliament, you know. So when he come back now, so the thing will continue. That the top people, they got to use their technical skills, your people skills, and your conceptual skills to deal with the situation. Technical, human, and conceptual skills to deal with the situation. Piecemeal thing now work, and it can't work, and sadly, the carnage will continue.
Right, it looks so. You know, sadly, the carnage is likely to continue. Sadly, now to address this issue that is gaining a lot of attention on social media in particular. We refer to the unfortunate death of this young Navindra Mahes, 15-year-old schoolboy who was struck and killed on the East Coast in the Success area there last week. It has been reported now, yesterday, that 25-year-old police corporal Yonet Kamabaj, 35-year-old police corporal Yonel Kamabaj of Eastville Housing Scheme, East Coast Demerara, was today, which is yesterday, arraigned in the Sparna Magistrate Court, where she was granted bail in the sum of $500,000. Kamabaj appeared before Magistrate Abigail Gibbs, where the charge of causing death by dangerous driving was read to her. The charge stemmed from a fatal accident that claimed the life of 15-year-old Navindra Mahes. The accused is scheduled to make her next appearance on January 6, 2026. Myers, a student at Annandale Secondary School, lost his life on Thursday, this last Thursday, October the 30th, while attempting to use a pedestrian crossing at Success East Coast, Demerara. Members of the family were at court and they met. I see a lot of emotions. I could understand. Parents lost a 15-year-old son in such circumstances. They have every right to be upset. But let me look at it. First of all, they make nice about the bail. I don't know whether they expected the person to be remanded. I'm saying in a case like this, it is not unreasonable for bail to be granted. But let me look at how the accident occurred, because people saying all sort of things. One of the most obnoxious things I understand is saying that the policewoman at 7:30 in the morning was drunk. I find it obnoxious. A drunk. 7:30 in the morning, somebody drunk. She got to be a real alcoholic, my brother, to be drunk at 7:30 in the morning. So they're claiming that she was drunk at 7:30 in the morning. I don't accept that. And then the police report didn't talk about her being under the influence or have alcohol to a certain extent as to be incapable of controlling the vehicle. Now, the question too they're debating is the action of the young 15-year-old. And if we look at the tape, the video, we will see that he attempted to, when he went to the pedestrian crossing, he looked to the left. They looked towards west. And then he proceeded on the pedestrian crossing. I agree, he didn't look to the right. Obviously, he should have looked to the right. But traffic in that area comes from the direction that he looked. But at the time, they reversed this traffic on the one lane, on the southern lane and the northern carriageway, to allow this one lane to proceed towards Georgetown, proceed west. And it is clear that he did not expect that to happen. So you are on the pedestrian crossing. And then the question now, pedestrian crossing. Now, the pedestrian crossing, and that is a problem you have in Guyana. They put things like pedestrian crossing, and I'm not saying that in this particular case, but I have seen it frequently. They put up a sign, and there's no indication well in advance that a pedestrian crossing is coming up. I don't know that to be so in this particular case, because people talking about pedestrian crossing, but yeah, you have a responsibility of a driver to approach a pedestrian caution, with caution, because the pedestrian has the right of way. The pedestrian, you got to yield to the pedestrian. Once a pedestrian is on the pedestrian crossing, you have to stop to allow them to pass. But somebody commented that if you in Guyana stand up at a pedestrian crossing and vehicles come in, you're going to stay there all day because nobody is stopping for you to cross. Let me understand. Well, very few people will stop for you to cross. Very few. And a lot of people do not cross at pedestrian crossings. And I have an issue with that because let me tell you this. Whenever I go to see somebody at the pedestrian crossing, I will stop, put on the hazard light, because for them to cross when you stop, they're still in danger. Because you got fools that come from behind you and undertake and overtake, and next thing they're going to kill the people. So I always try to make sure that I put on the hazard light and allow pedestrian crossing. But let me tell you, let me be truthful to you. When I see people passing, trying to cross at places other than a pedestrian crossing, when a pedestrian crossing is nearby, it's not every time I give way to them. Go to the pedestrian crossing and use the pedestrian crossing. That is what it is there for. And that is the type of education that we talk about. That is the type of education we tell people they should be doing, how to use pedestrian crossing and all of that. So they make a lot of noise that the policewoman, I all brief for the policewoman, I believe, when I looked at it, I believe that the charge is appropriate, causing death by dangerous driving, right? I believe that is the appropriate charge. But what happens thereafter? She is placed on bail, right? Because they're making a she didn't stop, and all sort of thing that they say. Emotions running high. Emotions running high, which is well understood. Because the boy was cremated a few days ago. We understand that. But we have got to be a little objective in the analysis. I just beat up on the police when they're wrong, but I don't, the police in terms of how they do investigations. But in this particular case, you have to examine it very dispassionately. They claim that she was speeding. There seems to be evidence of speeding, because if it is, when you look at it, why did you not, either speeding or inattention, why were you able to stop? Or even if you weren't able to stop, at least mitigate the impact. Well, we don't see evidence of that. And they're making all sorts of noise, right? But I want to say this. The same people who make noise about the policewoman being put on $500,000 bail, right? I didn't hear them make noise when the man who killed the police, I think Robert Hussein is his name, shoot the police, point blank, kill him. They make noise when he was charged with manslaughter and put on $1 million bail. You hear no noise from them, and that is the type of inconsistency we're talking about, right? That is the type of inconsistency. Because if you're going to ball out that the policewoman was put on only $500,000 bail, why did you not make noise when the man who killed the police, he took a life. He took the life of a policeman. And he was charged with manslaughter. And he was placed on $1 million bail. And according to Leroy Smith this morning, they're walking about the place. I'm going to deal with that matter separately. Right? It's the type of inconsistency we're talking about. Again, let me understand this thing clearly. I sympathize. My condolences to the mother and the family members of that child, 15-year-old. I have no sympathy for the policewoman, but I am being practical. When we analyze, when we talk about these things, we must put aside emotion and deal with what we see. Right? Again, I say before I bring in CC, this boy went to the pedestrian crossing. It is good. It will be good to see whether they have, as you approach a pedestrian crossing from the east, whether there's a sign indicating pedestrian crossing ahead, so you must slow down. And if that is there, then you can, the policewoman is even more guilty, in my view. A sign before, because you put a pedestrian crossing on the road, enough of them faded, and you don't have a before indicate that you must slow because of pedestrian crossing ahead. What are you doing? What are you doing? And that is what we're talking about road engineering and all of these things. That is what should happen. At the approach to these crossings, you should have a clearly visible sign at a reasonable distance before, advising drivers that pedestrian crossing ahead, slow, or something like that. Approach with caution, something should be there. But them things don't there. I am not saying this is not there in this particular case, but I would expect that if a proper investigation is done, that will be taken into consideration, right? That will be taken into consideration. And if you're going to reverse the traffic, you can't just, as they were doing all the time, when it started in these banks some years ago, you used to have traffic cones right through. So that is an indication, you get cone sign. I have never seen any cone on the East Coast to indicate that this one lane now is reversed. So instead of going east, it is now coming west. I have never seen the cones. I have never seen it. So who's to be blamed? You're blaming the bike because he didn't look right. You're blaming the driver because the driver driving fast. But the blame has to be shared more widely. More widely, without a doubt, has to be shared more widely. And as I said, the police returns to court on the 6th of January. I guess there's a disclosure, and we're going to see what happens there. And then, before I bring in CC, let me tell you this, because, all they just jump up and they just say all sort of thing, They just jump up and say all sort of thing. I see the minister, whether it's called, what they said, the minister, Wailag, a particular minister, he says, Wailag, made a post here yesterday. Listen, let me read the post. It said, a charge for causing death by dangerous driving should at least result in the suspension of the accused driver's license until the hearing and determination of the matter. Discuss. This is Wailag. Y'all know who is Wailag? Y'all know who is Wailag? Well, y'all go and do your research and find out. Me ain't going to tell you who is the Wailag. But here what they say. A charge for causing death by dangerous driving should at least result in the suspension of the accused driver's license until the hearing and determination of the matter. Discuss. What are you going to discuss? It is there in the law. I think it's section 131, one of the sections, I think section 31 of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, and someone of them there. Talks about it, When I was a traffic chief, every causing death by dangerous driving charge, when it is sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice, right? If an advice is given for the person to be charged, then a recommendation, we seek to ensure that the person's charged driver's license is suspended pending the determination of the charge. And here what the law says. So this is not reinventing the wheel, Minister. It is there. And in case they don't know the process, let me explain what happens. The file comes because the person to do the suspension of the driver's license is a licensing authority. The licensing authority. And the licensing authority, the law says, the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, Chapter 51 or 2 says, is the Minister of Home Affairs. But the Minister of Home Affairs has to do that once the Director of Public Prosecutions recommend that such a process must be undertaken. So as traffic chief, you write, and then what happens? The DPP says, suspend. You then write to the Minister of the Licensing Authority and ask the licensing authority to suspend the driver's license until the determination of the charge. So this question that is being asked, it is there. Just read the law. Read from section 31 and read section 113. Section 31 says any court before which a person is convicted. This is a different issue. But let me address it because they just use these terms, the term suspending and disqualification interchangeably, not in the law. The law makes a distinction between suspension and disqualification. If we're talking about suspension of the license, only the licensing authority can do that, unless they change the law. I'm not aware of any such change. No court can suspend the license. No court can suspend the license. Right? A court can disqualify from holding or obtaining for a specific period of time. Because it says, and that is if you're convicted. Any court before which a person is convicted for any criminal offense in connection with the driving of a motor vehicle, not being an offense under Part 8, may, in any case, except where otherwise expressly provided by this Act, and shall, where so required by this Act, order him to be disqualified from holding or obtaining a license for such a period as the court thinks fit. And it goes on, may in any case, and shall where a person by virtue of a conviction disqualified from holding or obtaining a license, or where an order disqualifying any person is made, or where so required by this Act, or other particulars of the conviction and any other disqualification to which the convicted person has become subject shall be endorsed on the license held by the offender. They're talking about endorsement. They say, provided that, listen to this carefully, provided that, if the court thinks fit, any disqualification imposed under this section may be limited to the driving of the same class or description as the vehicle in relation to which the offense was committed. Let me break that down. Basically saying, if you're charged and convicted before a magistrate for any one of the offenses listed, the magistrate can order you disqualified from holding or obtaining for a specific period of time. Right? Disqualified. And don't get mixed up with disqualify and suspension. Because disqualify is for a specific period of time. Suspension is until the matter causing death by dangerous driving is ordered and determined by the court. Right? And then this last part saying, the last part that I read to you just now saying, that if, for example, a person is charged with dangerous driving using a private car, right? But the person also has other categories of vehicle on the same license. They said the court may decide that the disqualification applies for that category only. So if you were involved in the accident using their car, you disqualify from driving a private car for that category. If you have a truck or something else, they say you can continue. That is what the law is saying. Not me, sister. That is what the law is saying. And then section 113 wants to say, if a person charged with manslaughter arising out of the use of a motor vehicle, or with contravention of section 36 or 37, 36, for example, deals with causing death, 37 deals with reckless driving, the licensing authority may, with the approval of the Director of Public Prosecutions, order the suspension of the driving license of the person so charged, pending the determination of the charge. So we have section 31, speaks about disqualification from holding or obtaining, and then we have section 113, and I'm referring it to the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, chapter 5102, speaks about suspending the license, right? And they say the license authority may, with the approval of the Director of Public Prosecutions, order the suspension of the driver's license of the person so charged, pending the determination of the charge. And I remember I used to do it frequently when I was a traffic chief. There was a prominent person suspended. I suspend. Had the license recommended, suspend the license. And then one day, they had racing at the South Dakota Circuit, and I see advertisement that this man is supposed to drive. I said, drive where? And I set up the trap to deal with it. That is how I used to roll, right? To deal with it. So the question asked by the person here is moot, because the question should ask, why are they not implementing that? And that has to start at the police traffic chief, to the DPP. The law said the DPP can then, the minister or the licensing authority can only suspend with the approval of the DPP. That is what it says. That is what it says. That is what the law is. Let me bring in CC at the battery law. CC, let me bring in CC. Let me bring in CC now. Yes, CC. Go ahead.
Yeah, you batted a long time, and what's done issues with the computer. So it's good that you bat through.
Yeah, no, I see.
And I agree, you know. But the question that I wish to ask, let's say, for example, this year, how many persons get charged with causing death by dangerous driving? And how many persons who were so charged, license were suspended until the matter is concluded? That's what I need to know. Let them those figures. 86% get charged with causing death by dangerous driving, and 46 license got suspended. That's what we need to look at. And then even down to that, when your license gets suspended, you need to, people got to know. Come on, we still continue to drive. People have got to know what's going on, you know. But the thing is that they're not enforcing that part of it. That the person gets charged with causing death by dangerous driving and no suspension of the driver's license.
Yeah, again, right. That is a very good suggestion. If you're going to tell us about that, you're serious about addressing the carnage on the road. Let us know how many persons were charged with causing death by dangerous driving, and how many of those persons' license were suspended in keeping with Section 113 of the Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act, right? Also tell us, you say a lot of people charged, how many persons who are disqualified from holding or obtaining. That is why we continue to say this thing requires a very comprehensive and holistic effort, you know. They concentrate, they tell you, they issue so many tickets. Police campaign, and they are missing the point. This thing now has gone beyond just enforcement. Police alone can't deal with this. Police alone cannot deal and cannot bring back sanity into the situation. They can't alone by themselves. And that is a mistake they are making. So the traffic chief and the squatter island believe that when people are there to be blamed, yeah, maybe you have to share part of the blame, but you ought to be able to do your proper analytical work and show the authorities that these are some of the things that need to be done. You've gone to parliament, you've tweaked some law, you think with this law, and you look at the thing comprehensively. You talk about enforcement, yeah, enforcement. We say got to be enforcement, education, engineering. Look at the engineering. Do your mapping. Accident that occur in a particular place. What is the reason for that? Is there a need for intervention by the engineers? Is it a problem with light? The place dark? You got to. That is the type of work that you have to do. Education. I'm disappointed that you have a bigger effort at education, social media blasts, TV, all of those type of things. The message should be there all the time. Pump, you said you got cricket and all them type of thing. I looked at CPL cricket in Ghana. I didn't see a single message about road safety during all them enough advertisement that they think. And I think this week is about road safety month or something like that. See, they had some church service and so on. The focus is wrong. The focus is wrong. I told y'all before, during Larry Lewis' time, he had partnered with, the Post had partnered, I think, with ESSO, and they had a program, So You Think You Know to Drive. And it used to be aired, dramatization on Sunday nights to show people the correct way. You got to do these things. And again, you get the jaguar in the room, which is corruption. The evidence is there. But they come and the police believe when people dead. Well, all right, people died on the road. The traffic chief threw up his hand and said, well, I do all that I can do, and so on. And people are going to continue to die. Unfortunately, people are going to continue to die. Right? Now, let me move on. The other issue is, the other worrying issue is the death of this policeman who was buried on Saturday. Right? Policeman, Lance Corporal Marvin Haynes, or Hayes, man, the businessman, shot and killed him. Let me show you all this thing, just in case y'all forget, or we have new students. Y'all share the live. We have new students who did not see what went on. Let me see if I could find the video and show y'all. Let me hold on, bear with me one moment. Look, here it is. Here it is. Look at it. You saw that. You saw that. Right? Those of you who did not see before, you saw it there. That man who shot the police there is charged with manslaughter, and he is put on $1 million bail. That's why I say, where was the outrage with that? Where was the outrage with that? Yeah, no outrage. Right? I saw this morning, Big Smith News Watch. He said, well, I'm glad to see that Big Smith News Watch corrected the earlier post because he had a grammatical error, which is now corrected. Did the DPP, did the DPP see the same video we saw? Did the DPP see the same video we saw? He's referring to that video that you just saw. And if the DPP saw that video, how is it that this man is charged with manslaughter? Oh, it's a clear case of murder. Clear case. Because I said before, I had given the DPP and them the benefit of the doubt. Because I said sometimes the police, in putting forward the report to the DPP, did not present this video, this damning video of what actually, crucial evidence of what transpired. Just there, I could very well then maybe understand the charge of manslaughter if they had not seen that. And then I went on to say, it is not too late because the charge of manslaughter is instituted. And if they did not see that, then they had a duty to make sure that they see it. And when they saw that, the manslaughter charge should have rested on sine die. In other words, indefinitely. And this man should be charged for murdering this policeman. He baited and he goaded the policeman, and then he pick up now. But he had a clear intention to kill the policeman from his words and so on alone. But you pick up something, see what can happen. Pick up something. See what happened. And then some jump up and say, well, the policeman, you will see, the businessman struck the policeman first. And then the policeman retaliated. He picked up, they said, some cell phone thing, and he threw it as the man. And the man reached across. Deliberate effort, you know. This is not a case where maybe you can say something spontaneous. He deliberately reached over, pick up a gun, and hear the policeman say, "She bow." He shot the policeman, one shot, and he killed him. Are you telling me there's not murder? Having regards to all that transpired before the actual act, listen to the exchange. Listen to the exchange, right? Listen, and I'm saying this. I'm saying this, regardless of what they say. That is disproportionate force. Yeah, the policeman threw something at him. That is disproportionate force to have picked up a gun and to have shot this man in the chest and kill him. And they're telling me that that is a manslaughter matter. And again, I say this because I recall not so long ago when they had this matter before the acting chief magistrate with the acid matter. I think of Daniel's the man named charged with throwing acid on this nurse from Balancing Hospital, disfiguring that woman, right? He charged with throwing acid. When eventually he turned up in court, the prosecutor, police prosecutor, told the magistrate that they have evidence of this incident. And then the magistrate made a request to see the evidence, and they promised to bring the evidence the next day. The magistrate then remanded the person until the next day. When they turn up the next day, the police prosecutors failed to provide the evidence that they had promised to the magistrate. And therefore, the magistrate then put the man on bail. Put the man on bail. Rightly so, I believe. Put the man on bail. The police corporate propaganda unit came out with a statement, media release. They attacked the magistrate. Even I commented on it. Other people commented on it. The Guyana Bar Association or Bar Council of the Con had the cost to come out and condemn the police for the action. That is in a matter where a man threw acid. This is a case where this businessman murdered a policeman. And have they come out in similar fashion to condemn the charge force of manslaughter and the granting of bail to this man? Have they done that? You see, then we talk about the inconsistency. They're just pumping and making enough noise, and that is why people can't have no respect for them. Right? The man just shoot point blank, deliberate murder, charged with manslaughter, put on bail, $1 million bail. They say not a coup. What happened to the police association supposed to represent the welfare and interests of the members of the force? What happened to them? Silent. Because they say to them it's not political enough for them to come out and make a statement. Right? And that is what we're talking about. Imagine the other ranks. Imagine the ranks, how demoralized, how they're going to feel, that nobody's standing up for you. This man, I know if it has anything to do with his name, because he get what appears to be a Muslim name. So I know if it has anything to do with that. Nothing, he get a manslaughter charge on bail. And according to, the Smith is saying that they're walking about the place, right? And he says here, the parents, family, Guyana Police Force, and the Attorney General Chambers should all call on the chambers of the Director of Public Prosecution to say if it was business, to say was some mistake made there. If business, Robert Hussein given manslaughter charge, Robert Hussein the man name, against the murder charge for the shooting to death of police lance corporal. We all saw the video. There was an argument, finger pointing. Businessman was the force aggressor. Policeman reacted to aggression. Businessman left where he was standing, walked over to his gun, picked it up and shot the cop. The video is clear, very clear. Pick up here, then he quoting the businessman said, pick up something and see what's gonna happen. Pick up something is what Hussein told the policeman repeatedly. He clearly knew what he wanted to do. I agree with Big Smith. Clearly knew, right? For some, that can be considered premeditated. Not premeditated. Pick up something and see what you're going to do. And when the man, you pick up, he throw, bam, he shoot it, right? And then I say this. There are rules of engagement when you may fire, right? Remember, they say you may fire. The most important to me and the serious one, if you are attacked and you apprehend serious danger to your person and you are unable to defend yourself by any other means. Let me repeat that. Since in the 70s, when I became an instructor, those are things that you knew. You have to teach people those things. If you are attacked and you apprehend a serious danger to your person, and you are unable to defend yourself by any other means, then you can shoot. Was he attacked? Did he apprehend serious danger to his person? Could he not have defending himself by any other means? These are questions to be asked. And then the Director of Public Prosecutions Chambers recommended a manslaughter charge for a clear case of murder. And then the man is, well, you can't talk much about the bail because it's the charge. The charge is manslaughter, which is the bailable offense. And that is what you are. But I'm so disappointed, not surprised, but disappointed in the action of the Police Association and all them senior police people who said nothing. They're quiet. They got to the funeral. The minister was there at the funeral. I think Deputy Commissioner Watts was there. The commander over there, all them go. And again, thoughts and prayers. That's what I'm going to say. Policeman murdered. Murdered in cold blood. And that is what you have. Let me bring in Mr. Conway on this, and then we're going to move on. CC, your take on this matter, my friend.
Clear case of murder. But, you know, where are the police association, officers police association, even the women police association that masquerading about the place, so they're going on whole inspection and auto whole inspection about the place. When you look at it, it's a clear case of murder. And it comes down to commanders. We don't have good commanders. We get commanders who could pick up a file and write. Many times as commander, DPP made decision and I didn't agree. Remember one way even Karen Bash will tell you, where Karen Bash didn't agree to and we sent it back and the DPP changed. Now this was the one, let me tell you this one. Assistant Commissioner of Police was about to retire. I think he had a couple of days to go. And on the railway embankment, twilight time, a destitute run across the road, was struck down, taken to Georgetown Hospital, where she died. The traffic sergeant from Sparanam who was investigating the matter, and they had no other witness. The only witness was the police officer. And the traffic sergeant recommended an inquest. It went to the traffic inspector at Sparanam. He said inquest. It went to the OC traffic at Coven John. Inquest. It went to, that's my good friend, Armstrong. A man who used to write more than the DPP. Philip Armstrong. He said inquest. It came to Coven John, the file. I'm talking about the file. The traffic chief there said inquest. I sent it to, I'm telling you, you had to send things to the traffic officer in Georgetown. Recommended an inquest. And about a week afterward, the file came back with one sentence. Charge the driver with causing death by dangerous driving. The file went back to Henry Green, who was the Deputy Commissioner of Law Enforcement, and he wrote to the commissioner, a very sad case, proceed with the charge. The commissioner then was Winston Felix. He sent it to me. And I read it. And I talked to the commissioner. I said, there's nothing here like causing death by dangerous driving. You had no skid marks, you had nothing here, you had no evidence there, no evidence of speed, as the case may be. So, went to the commissioner, after I spoke with him, he said, send the file to me. And within a week, the file came back saying, inquest. Because the first decision from the DPP And it was one of the junior people who just came out of law school. Perhaps she never read nothing. She just put charge the driver with causing death by junior driver. Came back from the DPP. I think she wrote about 4 pages and she recommended an inquest. And that was it. The point I wish to make is that you as commander, you got to be able to deal with situation. And if it doesn't sound right, it doesn't sound right. Make your views be known. You must do that. Come to you, and it's a death of somebody investigating into, so you gotta be fair to everybody. Yeah, and I think that after then they put some system in place that those critical matters, those sensitive matters, the junior people mustn't deal with them, or if the junior people deal with them, they must then send it to the DPP for advice. So I'm making the point that we need to have commanders with stone, with backbone, who can stand up and say, hey, no. This is it. If they disagree with you, they disagree with you. So be it. But you have few commanders who could stand up and cause positive changes to be done in certain matters.
Well, first of all, for them to write, they have to have the knowledge, and I believe that that is a big problem. You have people in command position, divisional command I'm referring to, and even other places that they commission them. They don't have the policing knowledge. So they are conveyor belts. The matter comes before them and the file come, they just forward for legal advice or forward FNA, that is what it's called, like FNA for necessary action. That's it. They don't read and be able to make meaningful interjections, right? Turn back files and so on. Because when they send to you, you might recognize that the investigation left out, or the investigator left out some critical part, turn it back. But you have to have the knowledge to be able to do that. Sadly, the knowledge is not there. And because the knowledge is not there, they take the shortest way out, turn back the file. They turn back the file. Now let me deal with 2 other matters. I have a lot of other matters here, but I want to jump now straight to this one that is going to, I'm sure, on the news. I'm talking first, let me talk about the bombing arrangement, the bombing that took place before the last Sunday at the mobile gas station region and King Street. I noted this morning that they said that 7 persons, I think, are charged in relation to this matter. 7 persons charged. I saw a picture with some of them going to court. Look here. This is the picture of them going to court this morning. Some of the men. And you would note, these men are charged with terrorism. They said they're charged with terrorism for the bombing of the gas station, resulting in the death of this 6-year-old child. They're not shackled them, you know. They're shackled them. The women, look, the 2 women going there, I think they're handcuffed to each other, one hand and one hand. No shackling us. I think there's terrorists. People were accused of terrorism. And one would recall not so long ago, Takuma Ogunse of the Working People's Alliance, WPA, they charged for inciting something and so on. Handcuffed and shackled. Handcuffed and shackled. And you have people who are accused. They're accusing them of terrorism. The plant bomb, blow up the gas station or part of the gas station, kill a young child, right? Injured others. And this is the way they are going to court. You think you're ordinary? You think these people are ordinary, unprofessional? You think it's so? And as I said, this afternoon, folks, 6 to 8, there is a vigil at the same place there. Now, they are charged. And I hear everybody making statement. The president making statement, all them making statement about what going to happen, right? All them making statement. And let me say this, as I've commented before, I congratulated the police on arresting the suspects, because that is what they are, suspects, right? Congratulated them in arresting them within 72 hours. And all them boasting about that. But that is just the beginning. You now have to make sure that you get evidence to convict them before a court of law. And when I looked at some of the statements made, when I looked at some of the things circulating, I am very, very worried as to the conduct of this investigation. Let me say it. I'm worried whether they have done proper investigation to make sure that you can put the evidence before a court of law and have these people convicted. Because what's going to happen, preliminary inquiry, no doubt, with the magistrate. I have every belief that at that stage, with a matter like this, I don't think no magistrate in Guyana gonna pull no case submission, no matter how strong it is. They're gonna say, go to the High Court. That is what is likely to happen, right? Now, the first concern that I raised, let me repeat it, is the fact that the police came out with a statement and they show, let me see if I get the thing to show, man. I don't like to start alone. They show that they had the clothing. This is what? First thing. They displayed this, claiming that this is the clothing that the suspect wore long before he was arrested. This is displayed. And I thank all of those. Some people have reached out to me and complimented me on the way I explained this matter. First of all, if you say that this is the clothes that the man wore, I sure you didn't find it like this. You didn't find it laid out like this. And I'm saying proper policing would have entailed you take out photograph of the suspected clothing in situ, where it was found. Take out the photograph there and so on. I said that any handling of this clothing had to be done by people who are properly trained forensically. So they get on gloves and they get on all these things because this is crucial evidence. You're saying that this is, I don't know how you know that this is the clothes the people, the main suspect wore. I don't know how you know that. But that is a statement you made, a wild statement. All right. This is supposed to be handled professionally. Pick it up, put it in evidence bag and all this type of thing. Because you're now trying to get evidence, scientific, forensic evidence from this in the form of DNA, perhaps even prints. You're trying to lift forensic air and fiber off of this thing. But when you lay it out there, you're degrading the evidence, you're contaminating the evidence. So I said that was the first mistake they made, in that they laid it out, which gives the impression they just put it there. They want photo opportunity, man. That is what they're good at, photo ops. So I said that is the first sign that something is wrong in the way the investigation was done. Because I said then, and I maintain, an investigation of this nature, you have to have strong forensic evidence. Then we learned that the main suspect confessed. And the president and all, and president visited the family, how the man confessed and all. Yeah, you think the confession can stand up? Because as I've said, in almost in every case where a confession is given, when it comes to the trial time, the challenge the confession as not being free, fair, and voluntary, not keeping with the judge's rule. Because let me tell you all this, while the judge's rule is not law, the judge's rule is a protocol that is observed in all them court if you violate the judge's rule. And I said this one is even more complicated because they say that the main suspect was Spanish speaking. So therefore, whatever confession he gave, he would have given it in Spanish. So therefore, you would have had to have people to interpret what he's saying. And let me thank the student who reminded me that there's a difference between interpretation and translation, right? Thank you very much. Because I think I might have made a mistake and used the words interchangeably. And he said, interpretation, you're interpreting the words. And translation, you translate right in. So he correct, right? I love my students, man. I love to own up when I make mistake. I can't recall saying it, but he brought it out and don't think he can lie, right? All right. So the statement or the caution statement, the CS as we call it, would have been given in Spanish. So you would have had somebody interpreting what he said. Right away, who was the interpreter? All them things I tell them, show them, I say, make sure you get the interpreter, make sure everything is correct. Was the interpreter sworn? What is his qualification to interpret from Spanish to English? All them you got to get part, because I'm saying this to you, not to alert the defense, but to say that you have to make sure that you get it because they're going to raise it. They are going to raise it, so you have to make sure that you get that done. So, all right, you get the interpretation. Then I saw something with the crime chief. Let me see if I can find this thing, man. Where did I put this? The crime chief making a statement. I can look for it just now. Hold on, I think I know where to find it. The crime chief made a statement that the man, all right, this is it. Look. Then the crime chief said that they produces images and said that the man tell them that is the bomb. That is photograph. They take it off of his phone to say those are photographs of the device that blew up. The man tell them that. And it appears to me that everything this man tell them, they believe. Everything this man tell them, they believe. Let me say this. Older folks might remember a man named Perry Mason, one of the big-time fictional detectives and so on. And then they had a whole series on TV starring Raymond Burr as Perry Mason. All the cases used to be the case of something, the case of the old woman, the case of this. That's how they used to style. That was the title of all these things. Well, I'm saying that this here, I can tell it, the case of the talkative terrorist. This got to be the case of the talkative terrorist because he's telling them everything. And they're believing. And I saw a letter today in today's paper from Clement J. Roy. I always, they ask you one time what the J stand for. I can't remember if I ever get an answer. Clement J. Roy. And he asked the same question, whether this man is telling the truth. But it seems to me that everything this terrorists tell the police them, they believe, according to what the crime chief is saying. And I'm saying anything that is said to you by this terrorist or his accomplices, you got to verify independently. You got to verify them independently. So you're charged with terrorism, these people, because remember too? Yeah, well, when I did the case of the, we talk about Perry Mason here, Sean, you must know Perry Mason was long before Matlock. We used to read Perry Mason, we used to look down for Perry Mason books if you want, court matter and thrillers and so on. Perry Mason, the lawyer, used to always get them off. Matlock he too was a liar, but Perry Mason, Matlock too, they would get them off and so on. Andy Griffith was Matlock. Perry Mason in the TV series was Raymond Burr. And I used to look at them things, right? I'm saying again, you have to make sure that you have forensic evidence. I don't know what type of forensic evidence they were able to gather in this matter. But remember from the get-go, from the time the thing happened this Sunday, the president been in Saudi Arabia and all them things, the Taki was signing that warrant. The Minister of Affairs, a lawyer and a former magistrate, talking about signing that warrant. You don't even get signing that warrant. Before you sign that warrant, you got to go to a court that can undo the death penalty. All of them is just talking, And what they're saying ain't making much sense, but they talk. And a lot of people, maybe a lot of their supporters, just accept what they're saying and so on. You're charging people for terrorism in the bombing of this gas station, resulting in the death of someone. And you telling me that you are not going to make sure that you lock down all the evidence. I mean, mind you, I'm not saying that they don't have evidence. I don't know. But I'm saying, given what they have said about the clothing, given what they have said about the confession that this man made, and given the fact that the crime chief said that the man showed them picture on the phone with the bomb, right? I have my doubt. Because first of all, if we talk about the picture, Mr. Crime Chief, off the phone, let me show you all it again. How are these images? How did you acquire these images? You take it off your phone. You give consent, right? You can say you give consent. You think when they come to the court, they're going to accept? They will move to suppress all of these things. So you have to indicate whether you have the legal authority to go in my phone. Forget these are things that should be basic. Things that should be basic. Because remember, you all are saying that these terrorists get international connection. Venezuela, international connection. So one can expect that when the time comes, they're going to have a robust defense. Perhaps they're going to even bring in people from outside. And they're going to try to rip all of these things to pieces. And that is why I'm saying the strongest evidence in a case like this, and this is from my training at the FBI, the strongest evidence in a case like this must be forensic evidence. Because if you get witnesses, you have a lot of things. You had that too, I should have mentioned. The gas station attendant who you say identify. That too is going to be put under serious question. She identified the main suspect. I don't know what evidence you have against the others, but all of those things are going to be challenged. And therefore, in this process, you have to make sure that you cross the T's and dot the I's. I am not convinced that that is being done. I am not convinced that that is done. Let me bring in Mr. Conway, and then I'm going to talk some more about this. Because we got to go to this parliament thing, time catching up with me, when we got to the parliament thing. CC?
Yeah. This investigation, should be sitting on two real planks, identification and forensic. I read in the papers that the girl, the witness, she's saying earlier she had difficulty identifying the suspect. I see that they debunked the statement. Earlier, she got difficulty identifying the suspect. And you got to deal with forensic. Yes, you say you get close. Okay, you get close. What about the scientific investigation? Huh? What about it? And if you're going to do identification, I don't know if they ever read about Turnbull, That's a deciding case in terms of identification. Turnbull, 1976. And that's a very nice acronym. ADICRATIV. ADVOKAT, advocate. A, most of the time, the deadline. How long the witness and the suspect under observation? That's A. D, the distance between the suspect and the victim. V, lighting, visibility and lighting. The quality of lighting and visibility conditions. O, obstruction. Whether or not there are any objectives, any obstructions to the witness view. Okay, known before. Whether or not the suspect was previously known to the witness and for how long. A, reason to remember, the length of time between any distinctive features to reason the to recall the suspect might have remember the accused. T, the length and time between the interval observation and the identification period for subsequent identification. E, errors. Any inconsistency between the witness initial statement and the accused's actual appearance. So there it is, that if you're gonna do identification, I'm saying go to Turnbull. I don't think the time is too late. Go to Turnbull and do your investigation. And make sure that you do a proper work. The identification is critical. And the forensic, worse yet, you got to get forensic to prove your case.
Yeah, my brother, you're so correct. Turnbull, this is a guiding doctrine dealing with identification parades. And then forensic, I've been saying this from the beginning. a case of this nature, you have to have forensic. But it seems as though everything that the case of the talkative bomber telling them, or the talkative terrorists, they believe. I hope they understand they got to verify these things when the man say you got to go and investigate to verify. Because they said the man came 8 o'clock. They said they went there and they do surveillance. I mean, I suspect it's based on that. Others are charged as well, because initially we were led to believe, according to the commissioner, this lone wolf, he raised the prospect of a lone wolf. But then it turned on a lone wolf. The whole flock of wolves, right, came to do this dastardly act. And I'm saying that if you really want to impress, make sure that a proper investigation is done. They spoke during this thing, they talk about the Indian forensic expert that are there. I hope that they are utilized to make sure that the forensic evidence is gathered, preserved, to be presented in court. Because let me tell you all this, and somebody mentioned O.J. Simpson. When you come to forensic evidence, they can't challenge the science. No defense can successfully challenge the science. They don't do that. Because when you talk about DNA science, you talk about fingerprint science, and they can't challenge the science. So what do? They challenge the process. They challenge the process, and that is why you have to make sure when we talk about nexus and we talk about chain of command, chain of custody, you have to make sure you get that down tight. Because that is what they're going to look to find the loophole in. Not the science. So if you come and they do DNA, and the scientists, people come and say, well, the DNA showed this. Because remember I said to you that in the clothing that you displayed, if you found DNA evidence there, it's going to be what you call unknown samples. Because you find the DNA, but you know who it belongs to. Right? You don't know who it belongs to. Then when you get a suspect, you're going to get sample from the suspect. And that is a known sample, because I know where it comes from. And then they're going to do the comparison, the scientist, and say, well, look, based on this known, unknown, and this known is come from this same body. Then they got to be presented in court. Because that is an issue you have to where the scientists have to go in court and face your blows. Look, again, I am saying this to emphasize that a case of this nature requires diligent, not what the release what they give. Let me tell you the release, what they give. Let me try to find it. They give a release, and they like them fancy word and so on. Hold on, let me say. I can't find it in now, but they get a release where they talk about the type of investigation the police did, and they're using all sort of fancy adjective and so on to describe how they did diligent work and all sort of crap that is right. That's how the nonsense that is right. They like this flowery thing. But forget about all the flowery stuff. Make sure that you communicate clearly. And they don't do that. They don't do that. Right? You got to make sure you communicate clearly. So I'm saying again, every right-thinking, law-abiding Guyanese, like me, like Mr. Conway, want to see that these people, if they are the guilty ones, convicted. This is not about xenophobia or anything. We want to see them convicted, but we're saying that in order for them to be convicted, you have to do a proper investigation. And an investigation of this nature it's got to be crucial. You got to be crucial that you have forensic evidence. Even the bomb, have they been able to determine the mechanism? The man tell them that he pressed some switch. Have they verified that? The scientists gonna know. The bomb experts gonna pick up, not the experts, the scientists dealing with the forensic part. Do they know what type of explosive was used? And to say whether this thing could have been bought in stores, or if it's some military grade which they have to bring. God, they said they might bring the bomb all the way from Venezuela. They say all of these things, and Rohit today asks a lot of questions if they bomb the bridge, and if they do this and all sort of thing. These things are said because, again, the motive is not clear. And I noted in certain quarters, they noted in certain quarters, they want to link this to certain people. Watch them for motive. Because this case of this talkative bomber, next thing you hear, you can try to implicate. As the case when the matter went to court with the Win Party leader, remember the Jamaican lawyers that they brought in, trying to make link, right? They're trying to make link with the Win Party leader and people in Venezuela. It's only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time you're going to hear to say all of these things. Only matter of time. Yes, we saw that. We saw the suspect go and touch the did they collect that to get fingerprint and all this everything? Did they do that? I don't know. Right? I don't know. And I don't want them to tell us. We're just saying to you that what they have been saying doesn't give me confidence that they have done a proper investigation in order to gain conviction in this matter. In order to gain conviction, because that should be the purpose of the investigation. And I know Roy wax lyrically today, talk about bombing all the time. He talk about Son Chapman. He talk about all them bomb. But terrorist act, previous terror act, this act. He even talk this man, Clement Roy, had the audacity to talk about the killing of Sadio Sa, the own minister that they never investigated. The own minister that they never investigate the killing of this man. Roy write about that today. Them chap not get shame. And according to Lincoln Lewis, the strength of the PPP is that they have no bloody shame. Right? Roy can talk about Satsa, who was killed when y'all were in government, and there was never any commission of inquiry, nothing. You just pin up on somebody, so, and people believe otherwise. Right? So, again, I say to them, let's look to see what's going to happen. Because, here, let me say this before I close off this matter, move on to the next matter. The fact that these people are certain by now, they would have been arraigned on this terrorist charge, and they would have been remanded. No question about that. Arraigned before the magistrate, they're gonna tell them, they're gonna read the charge to them, they're gonna say you're not required to plea because the matter is indictable. I hope too that they got the interpreter and everybody in court. I hope by now, because they're telling us, let me pull up this thing, that some of them are Guyanese and some are Venezuelan. So I hope that they get proper interpreters to deal with the Venezuelan part, to tell them what the magistrates say. Again, this is not an easy thing, you know. This thing is a very complicated matter. Because they told us that they call the name, some of them, I don't have it here now, I thought I printed it, but they said Guyanese and Venezuelan. One of them is dual citizen, Guyanese and Venezuelan. They have that. That is what they're telling us, the people who charge. Some of them, I understand, are to be arraigned on terrorism charge. I know it brings me to the thing I got to say. They have diminished this whole thing about terrorism over the past months. Because in April this year, when you had the postmortem and the demonstration of Adriana Young, and the demonstration which followed, then running along the road and lighting fire, and normal demonstration stuff. They charged them with terrorism. When you had the Quindon Backers demonstration in the East Coast, they charged people there, that is 2022, I think it was, they charged them with terrorism too. So they have diminished the importance of this terrorism charge. So now that people bomb the place, foreigners included, bomb the gas station, kill people, is the same terrorism, same section the charge in handle. Same section. And we had said since then to have charged those people, even though Nandalal went on TV and tried to justify a terrorism charge against people who are demonstrating, tried to justify. Can't justify that. So now that you have real terrorism, where bomb explode and people, at least one person is killed, the same section, the charge is the same thing. You want to equate those two matters. You want to say those two are the same, got the same impact. People running around the place and demonstrating because they decide with a certain action. And now railway tells them you're bombing and killing. That is what you have when you have incompetent people. That is what you have when you have. So right now, let me understand this thing clearly, you know. If you were to do a proper analysis and research, you might very well find that per capita, Guyana got the most terrorists around, Because you had all those 20-something people who were charged with terrorism all this year. Now you got others charged with terrorism. Because in many cases, people would like you to go into the details to find out what were the circumstances. They just see terrorism. How many charged? Dozens of them charged in April, I think it was. Now you get people charged. And others are charged in 2022. So by capita, you have all these terrorists running around. And where the real terrorists there, I'm going to tell you all about that some other time. Where the real terrorists there, the people who are terrorizing us, where they're there. We're going to talk about that later. So let me say again, as I move on to the closing matter in this thing. We want to see these people convicted. We want to see them convicted. The only way they're going to be convicted is to make if a proper investigation is done. Because remember what I've been telling you all over and over, when you deal with the courts, it's not what you know happened. It's not what you suspect happened. It's the evidence. It's what type of evidence you can produce before a court of law to convince, in this case, you can go to judge and jury, to convince the jury that these are the people who are responsible. It's the evidence. Not what you believe, not what you think, not what you suspect. Evidence. Evidence. So we understand this thing clearly. And it will be a real travesty if you weren't able to convict these people and this child would have lost her life in vain. Real travesty. Now let me move on to the other matter. The other matter we have to deal with, we might take the rest of the time, is this. Parliament was convened on Monday, the 3rd day of November, and we saw what happened as we were telling you. They have the speaker, Nadir, we got Nadir again. Manzu Nadir is the speaker again. They swore in a deputy speaker from the PPP side. Then they swore in the members of parliament. Now, when I looked at the members of parliament, like research, I watched them, I said, my God, especially those on the government side. I said the colorful people. I am not talking about colorful in terms of the clothing they wore. First of all, as they made a grand entrance into the place there, Lamborghini and all, revving, boom, boom, boom. Then you got the swearing of the people, right? Now, as we had told you, and what was explained then, there would have been no swearing of the leader of the opposition. Tell you, I'll come and get some civic lessons, man. So no leader of the opposition was sworn in. That has to happen now at a meeting summoned by the speaker. You get mixed up with the clerk. The speaker or the clerk had to summon a meeting of members of the opposition. And it's at that meeting the members of the opposition will elect who they want to be the leader of the opposition. It's at that meeting that is to be summoned. Now, I said to you, and it was revealed by others, that if you read the relevant article in the Constitution, it does not say how soon after Monday this meeting is to be called. I saw a statement made by the Vice President that it can take a month, it can take long, it can take long. It can take long for them to elect a leader of the opposition, right? It can take long for that to happen. We saw what happened in court on Friday afternoon, and I said, and I still believe that that was all designed to make sure that Azuddin Mohammed was remanded. They got a shock in their life when Azuddin Mohammed was released on bail, and I produced the evidence on Monday, and that was a statement of one of the attorneys in the PPP, Sanjeev Dattadin, who made the point that the magistrate hadn't the authority to grant bail to Azuddin Mohammed and his father. Right? I said so. Now they are on bail. Now went to Parliament on Monday. They're waiting now, because he's a member of Parliament now, member of Parliament. The next thing is the leader of the opposition to be elected. And all indications are that Azuddin Mohammed, will be elected as the leader of the opposition. Let me see, because remember the government ain't got nothing to do with that, except, well, let me be fair. Government has nothing to do with that. The speaker has the one to is the one who has to summon them to this meeting. When will that be? When will that be? This speaker has shown us that he is partisan. I say so. That is my belief. That he favors the government. He banned the word corruption in parliament. When we know corruption rampant in the country. He banned the use of the word corruption in parliament. Will he now there's a new parliament. Is he now going to reinforce or to bring back that ban? That you can, now that the government has admitted that they get corruption and they're supposed to set up an anti-corruption unit, that is what it said in the manifesto. Will it be now you can allow them to use the word corruption in parliament? We don't know. And interestingly, I'm going to go through some of them one by one. I noted that they said honorable speaker. I mean, I don't remember parliament, so I mean, I got to refer to them as no honorable nobody. I noted the speaker in his acceptance, or if you want to call it that address, he spoke about his sojourn at that time. He was a minister of the government. Yeah, he was a minister of labor, I think, under the PPP. He talked about being in parliament. He was a speaker, now second term speaker. He talked about all of those things. But some things he didn't tell you. He didn't tell you that he was a member of the United Force, Peter de Geer's party, UF. De Geer, UF, the same party that collated with Burnham back in the 60s to get rid of the PPP. He didn't tell you he was a member of the UF. Under Peter de Geer, well, I don't know if it's under Peter de Geer or Peter de Geer's party. And then after Peter de Geer, if my memory serves me correct, it was Marcellus Phelan Singh and then Manzoor Nadir. And when Manzoor Nadir became the leader of that party, the name changed from UF, United Force, to the United Force. It changed from United Force, UF, to TUF, the United Force. He was the leader of that party. And then the party disappeared. I remember the party had a beautiful building opposite GCC ground border in Chief Chanderpaul's Drive. That was the headquarters. Then the thing went into disrepair and the thing broke down and so on. And what he did not tell you too, let me reveal this, Manzoor, do you remember? He was also the president of the Minibus and Air Car Association. Manzoor Nadir, the same Manzoor Nadir. I had a conversation with somebody this morning, tell the shock. I said, yeah, because I was traffic chief. And when we were dealing with the tint issue, when we were dealing with the tint for motor vehicles, it was me and Manzoor Nadir at the discussion. When we decided on this 65%, was Manzoor Nadir representing the Minibus and Air Car Association, and I had that discussion. We had the discussion at traffic headquarters. Even when we did all the testing and so on, Manzoor was there. Manzoor, do you remember that? Or that is part of your resume, you know what people remember. He was the man. So he had a lot of, he involved in a lot of politics as UF, then TUF, right? Then Minibus Association. People might look for a place in the sun and found it. Minister of Labor. And all he said, look for his place in the sun, and he found it. I get more to talk about many of the others. So we look to see when this thing will come. Because I noted with concern, as I've said, and the lawyers have made that point, that when these Jamaican lawyers came to represent the government in this extradition proceedings, right? They raised some issue here. They tried to link Asudin Mohammed to people in Venezuela and people in America, and the man is a criminal. All them type of thing there is, and not a shred of evidence to support what they're saying. Not a shred of evidence. And then what happened? Ma put on bail. Enough nice about him being placed on bail. They make nice when the man Robert Hussein killed the police and put on bail. But no, Asudin Mohammed put on bail, but his father. And there's a big issue. They're getting our take over that. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. I bought enough today, but let me see. I need to bring you a little bit, and then I get one more thing to talk about in this matter, and then we're going to bow out. Go ahead.
All right, let me just deviate a bit, Those Venezuelans, how they came into the country. I remember the second vice president, Jack Dio, saying we must give them a waterway to the Atlantic so they could conduct their business. So I know where they come from. Then they just said a man appear at 8 o'clock in the morning. Then so we touch them. Did he come through the Coyote? Did he come through the Masroni? Did he come through the Pataro? Did he come through Ikeriku? Did he come through the Barima? Huh? Where did he come through the Essequibo? Did he come through Ikeriku? Where did he come through? And if he can come, others will come because Jack Dio has opened the floodgate for them. Jack Dio is open, so we got to be careful. We got to be vigilant, more vigilant in terms of our borders. Eterengbang, Kaikan, Ikeriku, Imbatiro, huh? Burimo. You just name it, and all those places there that they have easy access. And then again, they have the big 270 waterway that we can't patrol. 270 miles waterway that we can't patrol. So they can come. So it's frightening. If the warmer can come just so, others will come and others will flow unless we put a real permanent stop to it.
Right, correct. But you don't remember they said they charge other people to who are Venezuelans, so were they in Guyana, or they came with him too, or came at some other time, or came when all these things have to be unraveled. All of these things, and I'm reminded there about a student that it is said that when Nadir left the United Force, he handed over the leadership of the party to his daughter. That is what I'm being reminded, because I knew that. I'm being reminded. He handed over to his daughter. And let me show you during the campaign, during the just concluded campaign. Let me show you a picture. A picture here. Now, see, this is, in case you don't know what the speaker, the current speaker, the past speaker, the current speaker, that's him there at one of the PPP rallies. See how he decked out? Of course, he didn't get the shot and mark PVPC, so you can say it's just a coincidence that he wore that shirt on that day to attend that meeting, or he was just passing. Never see how I started to he just passing. But I is Mr. Manzuna dear. He and I had a good working relationship back when I was traffic chief, and he representing the minibus people and the Ayakara Association. Remember they had this campaign, We Want, We Tint. Yeah, remember that? I don't know if many of you would remember that. They had stickers and so on and all them cars went past, so they're going after them with this tint. Because the law came in after when I was there, and they write, We Want, We Tint. And the police used to tell them, yeah, we want it out. Just add the word out to it. Right? And that's what you have. Now, sticking with this parliament thing. The Attorney General, Anil, let me call you by your right name, Mohamir Anil Nandlal, SC, MP, made a very interesting statement last week. Right? He said that during next week, which is this week, the government is expecting more extradition requests, or more requests for extradition. Nandala said so last week. So I there with Miss Spyglass. You know the song, everybody peeping. I peeping to see what gonna happen. I peeping to see who those persons are going to be. That the US will make a request to the Guyana government for them to be extradited. And then he went on to say perhaps when that request comes, the Mohammeds might be a little bit more comfortable. What to the effect? He said it might be more comfortable. In other words, they're getting people joining them. And I said this, that I don't know that a request can be made for persons who are not indicted. And as far as we know, only the Mohammeds are indicted. Is it that they have sealed indictments against others? And I would think that if you're going to make a request for extradition, you have the indictments would have to be unsealed by the American government. So let me watch. He said this week. I know he does lie. And I say that what people say, when blind man say he can pelt you, he don't get the brick in the hand already. Y'all know what I say? Winston and others, when blind man say he can pelt you, they say old people say he don't get the brick in the hand. So I'm saying that if the Attorney General of Guyana says that they expect more extradition requests this week, today is Wednesday, week day halfway already. Week day halfway. Then maybe what he's talking about. Not always, he doesn't give the impression that he always knows what he's talking about. He uses a lot of flowery language and so on, but sometimes he knows not what he knows not. Just talk and impress the people. I know what he said last night, Tuesday night, on the program, but he just talk to impress people. Right? So, but if he says that, and if he is to be believed, then we can look forward to more requests. And I'm saying again, because remember, in the indictment against the Mohammeds, I think it came out in the court in Florida. They talk about known and unknown conspirators, people who they know. And I said on a previous program, you can't extradite who you know. So it got to be people, those who are the known conspirators. So we watch to see what will happen. We're looking to see what is going to happen during the week. But I would not be disappointed if nothing happens. Not for them. Just jump up on the talk, including the vice president, who talked about investigation. When sometimes if you're a violent person, you broke up your television when you hear these people talking. If you're violent and stupid, because you said you get a lot of stupid people, you broke up your television. Where the second vice president talk about investigation, and this is the U.S. Thing. This is not nothing to do with the government. And what? This is a man who had the most serious allegation of corruption level against him. And what did they do? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Tell me, I know what he's telling people. I don't know what he's telling people. But we got to watch it closely. Now, they got another matter. I don't start it today because we got time to go into it in any great detail. I'm talking about the allegation, again, more allegation at the in the Guyana police force about sexual misconduct. I can deal with it. We ain't got the time around the time, But except to say this to the minister and to Clifton Ikin, the squatter. The allegation was made about big, let me put it this way, big nastiness going on in the police institution there. I call them academy of sexing going on there, where all sort of inappropriate relationship. I understand, and this is to the minister, I hope she listen to somebody would tell her, that some of the recruits who gave statements implicating some of the subordinate officers in the office there. Understand? First of all, I was told that some of them were called to sign new statement in an attempt to exonerate those against whom the accusations were made. And I understand, more recently, these people, some of them were sent home. They were called and told that they were dismissed. And poor recruits, they don't know better. They're gone home. They don't got no paper for they're dismissed. And as soon as they're out the place and they're gone, they're booking them absent and reporting them that they're gone on the OWL, AWOL. So they're going to be struck off for being absent without leave. That is how wicked these people are. That is the allegation. So I hope that they're going to investigate. And I have names, at least 2 names of recruits who were so treated. You think they're ordinary, trying to cover up the nastiness? And I'm doing my research because in the interaction between Leroy Smith and Minister Waldron, catch your name correctly, we need Waldron, not Waldron, W-L-D-R-O-N. W-L, I think that's how we spell. Waldron. She said she had no, when Smith asked her about the photographs and so on, compromising photograph, she said she had no. And then it was revealed there, and I'm doing my research, that the person against whom this allegation was made about drawing gun on the David the man wife, and then when the man draw gun on the policeman, both of them are police. The man wife for the man, this senior officer David, is a police. They say fast rise, meteoric rise from constable to chief inspector or some other rank in a short space of time. right? And they say that is a deputy commissioner. We're like trying to find out who's the deputy commissioner. By Friday, I have to be in because I know they got 5 deputy commissioners. And I can do me investigation. I can do me detective work. And I'll be able to come up with who the likely person is. Because we get other clue. They say the person get previous and all that. So we doing me work. We doing some investigation to find out. Let me bring Mr. Conway for his closing. CC? Hold on, let me. Oh, I'll go right again. CC, you're closing, my brother.
Yeah, the thing is stinking, dirty, what is going on at the police training environment, stinking and dirty. And I've seen some of the documents. I've listened to so many stories, and I don't know why they don't shut down that college and do a proper investigation. Close it down. What they did, they transfer a deputy superintendent to Western Morara. They transfer a inspector to East Coast. They transfer 5 sergeants to TSU, and they transfer to Georgetown. So all they're doing, picking one and transferring them. But Paul, sometimes it doesn't really disappoint me, especially when you're dealing with Nanlal. If you're dressing up the man, dress him up properly, you're gone. SCMP. You don't know about the vowel? Isn't a vowel missing? But you're gone SCMP. There gotta be a vowel missing somewhere along the line there. But maybe next time you might correct it.
Yeah, baby. The problem is you. Sump, the vehicle get them vehicle islands in the sump and so on. So SUMP could be that. Talking about MP, I remember the MPs were sworn in on Monday, as we said. And I remember back in the day, I'm gonna say everything is MP now. Even shrimp is SHRI MP. Even everything is MP, man. Everything and anybody. I can tell you what more of them. Because when you look at the makeup of the MPs there on the PVP side, oh my Lord, they got one of them I watch it there. I remember the man was known to be a peep man. What they call voyeurism, this is what they call him. Man had an apartment somewhere in Queenstown there, he renting, he put in camera for peep them little girl that he rented the thing to. Them there is parliament. Them is parliamentarian. They will dress up and believe people forget. I see they can't like me because I get a good memory. I get a good memory. Rented an apartment, I think it was for 2 young ladies. And then somehow they found out that they think they get spy thing in the apartment. So them girls are undressed and so on. He peeping them. You remember Parliament now. You peeping. You call him Mackay. You remember Julius? Julius. All them people you get now. And you have to tell me, well, they in Parliament have to call them honorable. They are nothing honorable for them. Nothing, most of them. James man, oh Lord. James gonna get you because James got 2 charges pending before the court. And now that James he joined the MP, SHRI, MP. He too is an MP. So you're gonna, Queenstown is where the building there. I said, it's Queenstown, the building where the spy equipment been in. So, James, look out by them charge can drop next time it come up before the court. They're going to discontinue the charge, so you're going to get your thing. I know enough of them. They get one of them charged for inappropriate relationship with a little boy, and then they clap a charge to even provoking the court of justice. He's MP, SHRI, MP. Everybody's MP. Everybody's MP. Yeah, the next one, alleged to have raped a 13-year-old girl across the river, which led to the 13-year-old girl committing suicide. It's in the paper. I'm reading what the paper says. When I make them things up, he's a SHRI MP. Yeah, MP too. They got the one from Bobby, so knocked down the post and killed the body there and thing, and then he dug the mat and so on. He too is a SHRI MP. Enough MP them out, man. Enough MP. Don't talk about my favorite MP, Lion Mark Phillips. All them they down there. I see the girl from the block, Jenny from the block has made a return. They're enough, enough. A gathering of undesirables. Hillary Clinton, they used a word where they chastised you for some years back when she was running against Trump. Can't remember the word. Some things they use. So it's a gathering of them. Folks, somebody tell me for the longest while, you don't get your therapy, and I'm not going to deprive you. I'm not deprive you of your therapy because it is still relevant. It is still
sit there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of ours.
He claims.
Yeah, the word is deplorables, man. Yeah, thank you. That's the word. A lot of deplorables. Deplorables. I know today being Wednesday, tomorrow is Thursday. We have to expect that we're going to have the usual 2 o'clock show. But I have noted with some concern that over the past 2 weeks, we didn't get nothing. You know what we're talking about? Inida Chimakume. Well, a big bacchanal. Let me give you a y'all thing, man.
It was a big bacchanal just the other day with Enid and Chimakume. Big comments the other day with Enid and Chimakume. I ain't want to hear, so I pass him straight. A fella pull me and tell me wait. Same time Enid husband get off the bus. Well, it's now the Makume start to cuss. She say, look Enid, remember it's you who say how you hire your husband so total bay. Your sweet man does come home in the house too. He could only watch and he can't say, yeah Enid, woman, why you lying on me? Girl, I'm not in your category. And if even said what you said is true, you have a man with your husband too. It hurt me, but I felt so shame when I hear she called him my name. He's so shocked, he don't know what to do, so he stand up there listening to. A policeman was right on the beat, run to make an arrest, but he come as sweet. Enid is a big socialist himself. She want to cuss, but she hardly open she mouth. Girl, you should shame to kiss me for true. It's me, Enid, who you talking to. When you were sick in the hospital, I lend you me dress, me nighty and all. What you know about shame, the Makume say. You didn't shame last week Saturday when your husband come home earlier. Instead, you had to hide the man underneath the bed. When the man hear that, he face come pale as mud. If you choke him, you can't get blood. Watching the wife and shaking the head, I say, Lord, well, tonight she dead. And next comments, woman listening shout, hey, hey, mouth open man Tory jump out. This time the Makume put she hand on she waist, and if you see how she getting on in the place, she say, look Enid, it's better you leave and go. Don't let me talk everything I know, because you and Doris couldn't agree. You tie the child in the girl belly. I don't care what you say to do. I am still Mistress Enid Bedu. Bailey fair take back my TV set, and I never thief peas in the market yet. Now the husband shame, he couldn't take no more. He tell the wife, girl, come let we go. He hold she hand and he pulling she, but she tugging away from me. The Makume say, yes, you manny cool. You better take she away for true. She hire so dotish and borrow kid. What she give to rob, is that you take and eat? He say, listen young woman, stop making strife. You want to put me against my wife. In front me face, you're lying on she. My wife ain't have nobody with me. I know that man you are speaking about. That is her cousin Lucas from South. When he come home with a sleeping tree, sometime I myself does take he for me.
I never get tired of hearing Juke. Woman Bacchanal is sang name, man. Inid and Shimakume. They were the cakes you wait for truth. The man, they thing there. I never get tired of it, man. You never get tired. It's one of my favorite song. One of my favorite songs as well. So, folks, let me ask you this. This is your own work. Gotta give your own work, you know. Let me tell you what is your own work. I want you to tell me what has happened to this. What has happened to this? Y'all remember this? What happened to this favorite type of bird? The blue factory canary. He sings well. What happened to it? Like the canary can't sing. The canary. If you know what birds, when you look at the canary coat, the feather, it look ruffled. Someone can suspect that the canary is molting. We say moltering as a consumer. You mind board because when them board moltering, they don't stop whistle or sing as they say. So what happened to this? What happened to this? Right? What happened to this bird that they say the favorite type of bird, the blue factory canary? He sings well. So because he molting, he can't sing no more. Let me understand me. I know what's going on. They're going to answer. I'm waiting for here. How the canary can sing. All them that say they can sing and then sing like Juke. Woman Bacchanal. Inidanchi Makume. And even self, if you say it's true, you have the men with your husband too. That is what he said. Ladies, y'all. Anyway, and even if you say it's true, you have the men with your husband too. That's what you tell the thing. That is what it says. Yeah, the use of the dialect. Folks, we have had a long morning. Thank you for your attendance. Again, you have thousands of you on the live, and I know many people run to the YouTube to see what's going on. We have some stuff left back. That's some stuff that we have to prioritize because I suspect between now and Friday, if we are to go by what Anil Landalada said, we can get more Bacchanal between now and Friday. More Bacchanal we can get between now and Friday. So stay tuned. But as it is now, our next scheduled program is Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. That can be 5 o'clock Guyana time, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Don't get mixed up with the time. 5 o'clock Guyana time, 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time in America. So until then, I'm going to see you again. I have to ask you folks to be safe. Be safe. I understand this after somebody confirmed, it almost confirmed this morning. We had another fatal accident on the East Coast. People are dying on the roads and they're not doing anything. People are dying and they're not doing anything. Right? The traffic chief threw Yan in the air, gave up, and did all that they can do. And he's still here. So let me see. Minister, forget about this military training you had. This is not time for falling in and covering down. Can't fall in and cover down at this stage. Right? So and let me say this, I almost forget. I was telling you to monitor the Quindon Bacchus murder trial. I understand the trial is at a stage now where no case submissions would have been made. I think the defense, not the defense, the prosecutor is supposed to reply, and therefore we can expect something within the next week or so. We can expect. Follow them cases, Follow. We have other cases to talk about, but we can leave that for Monday. So until we meet again, my folks, I implore you to be safe and stay well. Until then, bye.